appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Ebolomo Adekunle. In our major story, INEC Chairman Atairu Jega restates the Commission's readiness for the general elections and says March 28th is sacrosanct. Also in this program, the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari assures women of more participation if voted in. Nigeria's First Lady, Patience Jonathan, takes husband's re-election bid to Lagos. And outside Nigeria, Tunisia arrests 9 suspects over alleged links to museum attack. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Atairu Jega, has declared that elections will take place as scheduled on March 28th and April 11th. He insists that the commission has used the last few weeks to tidy up plans for the elections and was fully prepared. Jega, who was addressing accredited election observers in Abuja, also maintained that no individual or group is pushing for further shifts in the election dates. Paya Samuel reports.
It's only a few days to the 2015 election, and the INEC chairman has opted to brief election observers on the level of preparations. Jega is also keen on using the opportunity to reiterate the commitment of the commission for a free, fair and credible process. But first, he decided to clear the air on fears of a further shift in the election dates.
I am aware that there are still lingering concerns on whether the elections will hold or not. Let me say that as far as INEC is concerned, these elections will hold as scheduled. And let me also say that I do not see any indication from any quarters of any wish to further postpone the elections. After the rescheduling of the elections, the Commission met, reviewed the situation, and decided on how best to utilize the 6 weeks extension in order to add value to the operational and logistical preparations for the elections.
On INEC's plan for internally displaced persons in the Northeast, the INEC chairman said arrangements have been concluded to ensure that they are not disenfranchised.
In addition to all these things I have mentioned, the Commission has made arrangements to also enable voting by internally displaced persons, particularly and especially in the 3 states that had experienced greater negative consequences of insurgency, namely Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe states. The plan is to create voting centers in safe areas. This has been done in consultation with stakeholders, and our plans are on course.
The forum also provided the police another platform to warn potential troublemakers. Inspector General of Police Suleiman Abba advised eligible voters against loitering around polling centers after voting.
This idea of cast your vote and remain, it is advisable cast your vote and go and cool down. And I have reasons for it. The main reason is that if you look at the provisions of Section 129 of the Electoral Act, if you remain, there is likelihood you will commit an offense.
For some participants at the event, it was time to brace up for the task ahead and to also feel the pulse of INEC on its state of preparedness. But they are also convinced that the 2015 polls will be an interesting one.
Yes, I'm convinced. I've never been a pessimist. I'm an optimist that INEC is prepared, the security agencies are prepared, and we're all ready.
It shouldn't be a do-or-die affair, that we should know that we are all working for some people, working for our electorates, working for Nigeria to be better, working for a new democracy, working for democracy to improve democracy that we have. So we shouldn't see it as something that we all come out, either if you win or you don't win, it's a do-or-die business.
Well, I think in most other parts of the world, observers are there to watch and to take note. I was in Tunisia back in November, and I was there to watch and take notes, and the commission there made sure that we had the space we needed to talk to the presiding officers and also with the voters.
With just 1 week to the election, INEC told the gathering that 81% of eligible voters have collected their permanent voters' cards. But in spite of that, it says it is working hard to ensure that more people pick up their cards before the final deadline ends. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says 81.87% of registered voters have picked up their permanent voter cards across the country as of Tuesday, March 17th. Latest figures released by the INEC spokesman Kayode Idowu in Abuja shows that 56,350,776 eligible voters have so far collected their PVCs of 68.8 million registered voters. A close look at the statistics indicates that Jigawa State has the highest rate of PVC collection with 95.98%, followed by Zamfara with 95.97% and Gombe with 95.55%. The figure from Lagos State shows that 65.25% of voters have collected their cards, while the FCT remains stuck at 64.56% for 1 week. But Ogun State, which had less than 50% PVC collection rate about a week ago, has now recorded an 8% increase with 57.57%. A federal high court in Abuja has fixed March 24th to rule on whether it has jurisdiction to entertain a suit challenging the eligibility of presidential candidate of All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, for the 2015 presidential election. At the resumed hearing on Thursday, counsel to the plaintiff, Mike Ozekome, asked the court to determine the priors and originating summons together with jurisdiction. He further requested for accelerated hearing, noting that the outcome of the case would have an effect on the presidential elections. But the defense counsel Wole Olanikbekun and Lateef Fagbemi objected, pointing out that no section of the electoral law says judgments must be delivered before election. After listening to all the parties, presiding Judge Justice Adeniyi Ademola,
we are saying that the originating summons in this case filed by us for the interpretation of certain provisions of the 1999 Constitution and the Electoral Act concerning qualification, particularly from CF001, and the issue of whether his academic qualifications were duly attached or ascertained by INEC before giving him the go-ahead. We are saying that this matter should be constructed, should be looked into by the court. If the court finds that he has deviated from the provisions of the Electoral Act and the Constitution.
First thing in law, when you go to court to file your processes, the other party must be served. And the position of my client for now is that he's not been served. It's not been served in accordance with the law, in accordance with the procedure, in accordance with the statutes. We have to take that one first. And when we were here on the 23rd of February, the court adjourned to today for hearing of all the pending applications. And when we got to court, claimant's counsel stood up to tell the court that he will want all the applications, including his own originating summons, to which we have not responded, to be consolidated. And that's what we have taken objection to.
The right of the plaintiff is important, just as that of the defendant. The plaintiff has a right to approach the court, but the defendant also has a right to be brought to court via the proper procedure. If that has not been done, we all know and appreciate the fact that service is a very important and fundamental aspect of a case. And unless there is service or proper service, the case cannot progress.
The presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, has promised to work to ensure measures that will check the spate of violence against women in the country if he emerges winner of the March 28th polls. Buhari made this known during a town hall meeting with women in Lagos. Abiola Oluwole reports that Buhari also met with Lagos State Association of Artisans and Tradesmen. His reports is presented from our studio.
Ahead of general elections, political gladiators have continued to woo the electorate across board. The presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress in the March 28 polls, Muhammadu Buhari, and the leadership of the party were in Lagos to give an insight into their plans for women and artisans if they emerge victorious at the poll. At the meeting in Lagos, Buhari assured them that he will work to ensure the legal framework that will further guarantee their rights if elected. He says corruption, insecurity and bad governance remain the bane of the nation.
These forms a vicious circle which needs the cooperation of all Nigerians to break it. If the Naira continues to go down, as I said, the factory will close. If there is no power, the factory will continue to close. If there is no security, people will take a cover. Those that can afford it will leave the country. Those of us that are stuck here will remain and suffer.
The town hall meeting with the artisans and tradesmen was another platform for Buhari to interact with the informal sector after listening to problems highlighted by the artisans hindering the growth of their businesses. Buhari promised to ensure periodic training, stable power supply, and interest-free loan to aid their contribution to the nation's economy.
Our government, if elected, promises to provide basic support to your businesses, especially with regard to power, which constitutes about 30 to 40% of your operational costs and eating into your profits.
Speaking in the same vein, Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola and the national leader of the party, Bola Tinubu, urged the artisans to support Buhari and other candidates of the APC to change what they describe as an unintelligent government led by the PDP.
I will vote for General Buhari, and I know that General Buhari will vote for himself. But you know what? After offering himself and voting for himself and coming to answer questions from you, that's all that he can really do for himself. He cannot elect himself. Are you ready to elect him?
At a very crucial time in every nation state, you need those who are intelligent, brilliant, and think good vision enough to steer the ship of the nation.
As politicians explore ways of selling their programs to the electorate, the expectation of Nigerians, according to political watchers, is good governance irrespective of the party that wins the election.
You're watching the CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take a break and we'll return with more reports. Please stay with us.
dose of Scott's Emulsion, which combines omega-3, calcium, vitamins A and D, supports the healthy development of your child's brain and body. Scott's Emulsion promotes active minds and strong immunity in growing children. New Scott's Orange Flavor Multivitamin Emulsion.
Election time don't come. Time to vote don't come. Your vote tonight, your power. Oh. Make the use and well. Lagos State APC. Don't do better. Better road. Transport. Get better school. Hospital cell. Better economy. Plenty jobs. Security. The environment. For continuity in excellence in Lagos State. Vote for APC, APC, all progressives Congress, APC. Vote for APC, 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 APC. Vote for Akinwumi Ambode for governor.
Vote for the consolidator, Akinwumi Ambode, for governor of Lagos State. Vote APC.
The army was not supposed to be visible or to be around any polling unit unless there is a breakdown of law and order and they have been invited by the Inspector General of Police.
That elections are sheltered in Africa is no news. But in Nigeria, it comes with consequences.
Against the will of one man.
Consequences that have toggled the nation's politics and may shape how Nigeria elects.
This is the year of PDP.
The momentum gathers.
When we promise, we deliver.
The fireworks is unending.
We did it and continue to do it.
55 years this year, and in her fourth republic, this is Nigeria's 5th general elections. All the action, all the news, the updates, and the news behind the news we will bring to you live from the field and in the studio on CoreTV News as Nigeria elects.
Many thanks for being there with us, and if you're just joining us, it's the CoreTV Primetime News, and here are the stories that made our headlines. INEC Chairman Atairu Jega restates the Commission's readiness for the general elections, insists March 28th is sacrosanct. The All Progressives Congress presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari assures women of more participation if voted in. Nigeria's First Lady Patience Jonathan takes husband's re-election bid to Lagos. And for more on CoreTV Primetime News, you can visit our social media platforms. On Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle @CoreTV News NG. And on YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space, then News. Wife of President Goodluck Jonathan, Patience, has led PDP women to a campaign rally ahead of the 2015 general elections to Lagos on the continuing quest for the president's re-election. Oluwaseyi Adegoke was at the National Stadium, venue of the event, and filed in this report.
Women from across the various chapters of the party came gaily dressed, and for some, it was like a party. Time for speeches. Wife of the Lagos State PDP governorship candidate, Biola Agbaje, bid the First Lady, fondly known as Mama Peace, welcome.
We have longed for a long time for you to visit us. We have been waiting. The day has come and you are most welcome.
Some of the PDP women leaders present at the rally urged Lagos women to vote for PDP in the coming elections.
We are tired of all the situation in this country, and we believe women too are being recognized in this struggle to have leadership. We really appreciate our father, Jonathan, who has given women opportunity to serve. For transformation, we're going to vote. For progress, we're going to vote. For good governance, we're going to vote. Tell me who you're going to vote.
The PDP national women leader, Kema Chikwe, assures the women that PDP is the party to vote for.
Our first lady is following the footsteps of our great president. A president that has shown Nigerian women that we can belong to the development of this nation. A president that has recognized women. A president that has given us all the high positions possible.
For her part, the First Lady, Patience Jonathan, says Goodluck Jonathan is the messiah for Nigerian women.
We, PDP people, we are talking to. And that's why PDP slogan, Goodluck Jonathan's slogan, is about to do more. Continuity. Because he has done it. And he will do it again and again.
The PDP women urged the women in Lagos to vote for the PDP at all levels in the coming elections. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The PDP Women Campaign train also docked at Oshogbo, the Osho State capital, where the wife of the Vice President, Aminat Sambo, led other PDP dignitaries to canvass for votes for the president. Mild drama, however, ensued as the Aminat Sambo campaigned for governorship candidate of the state, Iyolo Mishore, in an already concluded election. Rashid has more.
While the wife's president leads the PDP women rally in Lagos, another leg of such campaign is expected in Oshogbo as party faithfuls await her arrival. Distraught women were seen hanging in buses after spending hours under the scorching sun, only to be represented by the wife of the vice president, Aminat Zambo. Though Osun State is controlled by the APC, PDP stalwarts say only PDP government can guarantee Nigeria's development.
The issue of Buhari is a non-issue. Buhari issue is a non-issue. No certificate on health grants. Everything by Buhari is fake. Corruption is their name. Corruption is their name. GBT is their name. By God's grace, we sent all of them packing by 28th of March 2015 in God's name.
Be resolute in giving the power back to Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, who is a Democrat to the core, who has a very good history, a very good past, a very good present, and is going to do better in the future.
The wife of the vice president, Amina Zambo, says the PDP-led federal government have done much for women and Nigeria, thus canvassing for votes. Amina Zambo, however, seems oblivious of Osun politics as she campaigns for Iyolo Mishore in a governorship election that has been decided since 2014.
Please make sure you collect your PVCs, go and queue on that fateful day, and vote for the winning team. Vote for Goodluck Sambo. Vote for our dear governor here in Osun State, Chief Otumba Omisore, as the incoming governor. Vote for all our PDP candidates from the top to the bottom.
The Southwest is no doubt a hotbed of political activities, and the votes coming from the geopolitical zone will no doubt alter the balance of election results at the general polls. Rashid, CoreTV News, Oshogbo.
Wife of the APC presidential candidate Aishat Buhari, in response to the wife of President Goodluck Jonathan, alleged claims that the APC presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari will jail his political opponents if elected president on March 28th. She alleged affairs, saying as Nigerians only want a change in the way the country is being run presently. Speaking at a mega rally where she interacted with women in Edo State at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium, Benin, Aisha Buhari says the PDP's attempt to paint her husband black in the name of religion is a desperate attempt to hoodwink the people, saying only those who want to loot the treasury campaign with religion, which is at variance with politics. She went on to say each zone of the country has its peculiar problems and that girl child trafficking should be considered one of the major problems, a problem she blamed on unemployment. Aisha affirms that Muhammadu Buhari is a leader who led Nigeria some decades ago and he is coming back now to sanitize the system. In his address to the women, Governor Adams Oshiomhole urged them to vote for the APC since the PDP has failed in 16 years to deliver on electricity and other basic infrastructure. Following the Federal Executive Council approval of the implementation of over 600 resolutions made at the 2014 National Conference, Afenifere Group has affirmed its total support of the re-election bid of President Goodluck Jonathan, saying the implementation of the resolutions will be of utmost benefit to the Yorubas. The group made the endorsement at the post-National Conference Summit held in Lagos. Our correspondent Patience Ajiboye was there and filed in this report.
It was the fourth post-National Conference Summit convened by the Governor of Ondo State, Olusegun Mimiko, in Lagos. The summit, which was tagged "Tomorrow Starts Today," had in attendance Afenifere Group members and other supporters. At the summit, Mimiko revealed to the participants that the agitations of the Yoruba nation had never been given full attention until the Jonathan administration.
If there was one single incident that showed us clearly that what unites us as a nation is far greater than what divides us, it is that conference. Over 600 resolutions of the conference were read by 492 delegates through consensus.
Taking advantage of the platform, the Afenifere Group vowed support for the re-election bid of President Goodluck Jonathan, saying he's the only president who ever organized a national conference to listen to the yearnings of the people.
2014 National Conference has set Nigeria on a path of true federalism. Do not forget that the Yoruba, before independence up to now, what we have always strove for is for Nigeria to be a true federation. That was what our Lord led us to agitate for within Nigeria, because we know the benefit of it, that there is no way you can run a multi-ethnic nation like Nigeria along unity system and you not have the discontents, the breakdown in governance that we have at the moment. So that conference having held passed over 600 resolutions, and those 600 resolutions are what it takes to move Nigeria forward, for every part of Nigeria to prosper, to move at their own pace, to develop at their own level, and to maximize all our potentials.
Chairman of the summit, Ayo Adebanjo, who says he was a victim of APC presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari's high-handedness, says President Jonathan is a choice of the Yoruba people.
Examine them out from the beginning. Who is an independent follower of that group? You have to examine all this. These are the people now who want to turn Yoruba back to the joint that have rejected and our forefathers have fought for the freedom and have had it. It is in your interest to go and vote solidly for Jonathan.
Despite the open endorsement of President Goodluck Jonathan by Afenifere Group, the verdict of the March 28th presidential election is still dependent on the electorate. Patience Ajiboye, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Contrary to the recent endorsement of the People's Democratic Party's presidential candidate, President Goodluck Jonathan, as the choice of the Yoruba nation by the Afenifere Yoruba Group, another group of eminent Yoruba leaders say such public support is not a true representation of the interest of Yorubas, adding that the current administration has performed poorly in satisfying the interests of the people and therefore deserves to be changed. According to the vice presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Yemi Osinbajo, the past 6 years of governance in the country has been the worst of its kind, with far-reaching negative impact on the country's population. We'll bring you details of that report later. And with less than 10 days to the 2015 general elections, freight forwarders have come out en masse to drum support for the re-election bid of President Goodluck Jonathan. The freight forwarders, who made further demands on the PDP-led administration, say it was necessary to give the president a second chance to continue his transformation agenda in the maritime sector, as maritime is the gateway to the nation's economy.
We have endorsed him as our own candidate, and we have directed all our members to vote for him. It is a critical sector of the economy. In fact, the economy of the country is on transport. Whether it's on land, sea, air, that's the economy itself.
We have put our thoughts across, we put them on paper. Forget about what was said. We articulated what we wanted the president to do for the industry, and we're giving them to His Excellency Peter Obi. And like he promised us here, we are sure they will get to the presidency.
The Kwara Joint Campus Committee of the National Association of Nigerian Students has called on the federal government and INEC to ensure a free and fair election. The students' body, while tasking INEC to midwife a credible election, wants the PDP-controlled federal government against truncating the electoral process put in place by INEC. Rashid has more from Ilorin.
As the general elections draw near, the Joint Campus Committee of the National Association of Nigerian Students in Kwara State has joined the calls for a free and fair election. Addressing journalists, JCC Chairman Ibrahim Abdul-Razak warns the federal government not to truncate the electoral process through its influence on the security agencies.
We equally appeal to our various security agents to remain non-partisan, professional and committed in the discharge of their constitutional duty, which is the protection of life and property of Nigerians. They shall not allow themselves to be used by any political party, because Nigeria is bigger than any party or individual.
The NANS JCC also admonished youth to vote en masse for the candidates of their choice and partake actively in the electoral process without being used as agents of violence.
It is therefore behooved on each and every one of us to make a significant contribution towards the development and progress of our dear country. One of such contributions is for us to vote for only credible, God-fearing and responsible leaders in the forthcoming general election.
Reviewing the political tag now placed on the once vibrant student body, Ogunkwade Oluwatosin, who is the NANS vice president, has this to say on the bias shown by NANS on national issues in recent times.
We are going to take Nigerian students from mutiny to destiny, and we are ready to bring freedom of association, freedom of participation into the entire association of Nigerian students against any political selfishness or self-aggrandizement by any political leaders in this country.
As the election is due in a matter of days, it is expected that Nigerians will be given the chance to vote and make their votes count. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilorin.
It has uncovered another plot being hatched against the leadership of the party by sympathizers of the ruling People's Democratic Party. According to the APC, the plot is to import a huge amount of money in US dollars, which are being ferried into Nigeria by some people who then claim they were hired as cash carriers by APC leaders. The party made this allegation today in a statement issued by its National Publicity Secretary, Lai Mohammed, in Abuja. The party says the funds are to be ferried into the country through the Seme or Idiroko or any other border posts any time from now. However, the PDP has dismissed the allegations as baseless. Its Deputy National Publicity Secretary, Abdullahi Jallo, says the APC has taken propaganda to a ridiculous level and that the PDP will dignify them with a response because the allegation lacks substance. APC alleged that those who orchestrated the importation of the raw cash from a West African nation have also tipped off the security agents at the border posts to watch out for those who are bringing in a colossal amount in US dollars. The APC says as many evil plots as are being hatched by desperados who are bent on setting the country ablaze just to realize their naked ambition will be exposed because Nigerians themselves, within and outside the country, have decided to be extra vigilant. Enugu-based Catholic priest and founder of the Adoration Ministry, Ejike Mbaka, has again cried out, calling on security agencies to protect him following alleged threats on his life. He says President Goodluck Jonathan should be responsible should anything happen to him. The cleric has accused the president and his wife, Dame Patience Jonathan, of being behind the alleged assassination plot, according to Mbaka. President Jonathan decided to kill him after he preached against the president's re-election in a New Year Eve message at the Adoration Ground titled From Good Luck to Bad Luck. He says, after alleging that Jonathan and Patience were planning to kill him in a recent sermon in his church, the cleric has now cried out for protection through a statement issued by the Adoration Ministry. The message, which was made available to journalists, was issued by the media officer of the ministry, Ike Maximus Ogwoke. In the statement, which was titled Jonathan Wants Me Dead before the 2015 elections, Mbaka says the police had refused to act on the allegation he made. The statement expressed concern at the insistence of the Enugu State Police Command that there was no report of any threat to Mbaka's life. Fuel queues have resurfaced in Abuja a few weeks after they disappeared. Many residents were surprised to see a return of lines at filling stations. They are, however, prepared to blame the authorities for the latest shortage so close to the general elections.
Honestly, government have been making promises that it seems to be a broken promises, and we cannot actually pinpoint to what is happening. That was what they said, that this is, that we are not going to experience fuel scarcity again, but this is what we have been experiencing. I think since day before yesterday, this thing has started now.
We don't know the cause, but they are saying that they don't want people to carry fuel about during the election.
As you can see, the queue is too much. There are many filling stations, they are not selling. They just switch up everything. They are not selling. That's why I just come to buy black market, because I have an urgent place I want to enter now. That's why I just say, let me buy black market here.
Operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission have arrested a House of Representatives candidate of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, Oluwa Metomi Adisa, for allegedly obtaining by false pretense. She was said to have collected the sum of 142 million naira from one businessman, Alhaji Isa Bello. EFCC said in a statement issued by its spokesman, Wilson Uwujaren, that the 37-year-old politician allegedly obtained building materials from Bello in the guise of servicing a supply contract she had with a construction company. The materials comprised 9,900 bags of cement, 381 tons of imported iron rods, and 468 tons of local iron rods. But the petitioner claimed that Adisa paid an initial sum of 40 million naira and issued 2 post-dated checks, which were returned up unpaid. Bello said that all efforts to make Adisa pay up the balance proved abortive, which prompted the EFCC petition. The commission says the politicians will soon be charged to court. We'll take another break now and return with business, sports, and other stories from outside Nigeria. Please stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
And now to business news. The federal government has again expressed its commitment to helping small business owners across the country grow through the 220 billion naira SMSE fund. Minister of Industries, Trade and Investment Olusegun Aganga said this at the unveiling of an initiative of the Youth Entrepreneurship Strategy of Nigeria in Abuja. He argued that Nigerian youths now have more opportunities to venture into small-scale businesses, especially as government has introduced different initiatives such as UWIN and
Very soon,
GWIN.
as I said, the president will be launching an MSME wholesale bank again to make funds available. So, and BOI, for example, in the last 4 years, the amount of loan BOI made available to the sector went up by 554% compared to 4 years before this president came on board. So we've done so much. And if you look at business support services, skills, only on Tuesday, we worked with the World Bank to launch a new network, a portal for business support, business services development providers to support the sector. And already, BOI has already engaged about 100 of those. World Bank is going to appoint at least one in each local government, one in each geopolitical zone, and we're growing that network. What are we doing? We're bringing business support services to the doorstep of SMEs.
We have identified that Nigeria has an unemployment crisis. Everybody knows that. But the unemployment crisis can only be solved if we promote entrepreneurship. The banking industry is the entire banking industry, we're talking about just 350,000 jobs. The entire oil and gas industry, there's the main jobs with the big companies, we're talking about just 300,000 jobs. And even the telecoms industry that a lot of young people like to get excited about, we're talking about 350,000 jobs. So the entire those major industries with not more than 900,000, a million jobs that those three industries provide. And those 1 million people are not going to give way for you to come and take a job. So if there's a turnover of about 10%, which means folks who die or people who get retired, we're talking about not up to 90 to 100,000 jobs every year. Meanwhile, we have 2 to 3 million young people coming out every year looking for jobs. So the economy cannot provide the number of jobs required for our young people as far as the white collar jobs. So we're promoting entrepreneurship. We believe that self-employed people who start their own businesses can actually solve this problem of entrepreneurship. We need thousands and thousands of young people setting up small companies.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has disbursed a total of 40.3 billion naira out of the 220 billion naira macro, small and medium enterprise development fund launched in 2013. This was disclosed at a workshop on MSME fund organized by the Subcommittee on Economic Development, Sustainability and Gender of the Bankers Committee in Lagos. A breakdown of the disbursement shows that deposit money banks have accessed about 840 million naira microfinance banks, 2 billion naira microfinance institutions, 100 million naira, and some states' governments have assessed 2 billion naira mark, while some assessed 1 billion naira as first tranche. The collateral required for assessing the fund has been reduced to 50% from 75%. Also, the interest rates have been brought down to 2 to 9% from 3 to 9%. International Finance Corporation is collaborating with the CBN to establish the National Collateral Registry, which should be launched by June this year. At 9, we join Sabena Izoku for the stock market report for today.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report.
Hello there, welcome to the Stock Market Report segment with me, Sabena Izoku. Equity transaction on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange depreciates further as the all shares index went down by 0.65% to close at 29,243.91 basis points. The market capitalization decreased in the same manner to close at 9.75 trillion naira. In all, a total volume of 277.6 million units of shares, valued at 3.2 billion naira, were exchanged in 3,181 deals. United Africa Company Property topped the gainers chart closed at 9.15 kobo with 26 kobo price difference, followed by Honey Flour, Unilever, Dangote Sugar, and First City Monument Bank. On the flip side, Mobil Oil topped the losers chart, followed by 40 Oil, Consolidated Oil, Flour Mill, and Beta Glass. Meanwhile, Axis Bank topped the highest trades, followed by First City Monument Bank, Union Bank of Nigeria, First Bank Nigerian Holders, and United Bank for Africa. Just before we wrap up the stock market report, here is a currency trade for today.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report.
And now we join Bronson Uwana for sports news.
Our style, that's what he delivered. Here's that ball, storming, Toyol with a flying lead.
Go, taking them out in the lead
Sport News tonight, I am Bronson Uwana. The Nigerian Football Federation General Secretary Musa Hamadu has quit his position after nearly 5 years. According to an announcement made by the NFF on its website today, the 53-year-old Hamadu, who has been the General Secretary since July 2010, tendered his resignation letter dated March 18, 2015 to the Football Federation President Amaju Pinnick. The NFF has since praised Amaju for his resilient services to the body and gone on to say his name will remain in the history books of Nigerian football. However, the NFF has also announced Dr. Mohamed Sanusi as its new General Secretary. FIFA has confirmed that the 2022 World Cup finals in Qatar will take place on December 18. A FIFA task force recommended last month that the tournament should be switched from summer to winter. The decision to hold the final on 18 December means Britain's traditional Boxing Day club matches on 26 December can still take place. In another key decision, FIFA has chosen France to host the 2019 Women's World Cup ahead of South Korea. Finally, on sport news tonight, FIFA President Sepp Blatter has rejected a joint offer from the BBC and Sky to take part in a television presidential elections debate. His three rivals, Ali bin Haman, Michael van Bragg, and former Barcelona winger Luis Figo. The BBC and Sky proposal was based around fans asking questions to the candidate. The FIFA presidential elections is due to take place on 29 May in Zurich. The 79-year-old Blatter is seeking a fifth term in office. And that's my final whistle on Sport News tonight. A very big thanks for watching.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, our 24-hour news station.
And now outside Nigeria, 9 people have been arrested in connection with a gun attack in Tunis that saw 23 people killed, including 20 foreign tourists. Tunisia's president say 4 of those arrested were directly linked to the attack and 5 had ties to the cell, saying the army has been deployed to major cities. In another development, Islamic State has claimed responsibilities for the attack on the Bardo Museum, saying an audio message to praise 2 knights of the Caliphate. The message, posted on Twitter accounts known to be reliable sources of IS propaganda, names the attackers as Abu Zakaria al-Tunisi and Abu Anas al-Tunisi. A statement describes the attack as a blessed invasion of one of the dens of infidels and vice in Muslim Tunisia. One of 2 gunmen involved in the Bardo Museum attack, named by Tunisian officials as Yassine Labidi, was reportedly known to the authorities. Tunisian Prime Minister Habib Assid says security services had flagged him up but were not aware of anything specific or of any links to known militant groups. Labidi and his accomplice named as Artem Karchoué were killed as security forces stormed the museum. Tourists from Japan, Colombia, Australia, the UK and several other European countries were killed in the attack and more than 40 people were injured. And that's it on Core TV Primetime News for tonight. But before we go, a recap of our major stories. Reported that INEC Chairman Atahiru Jega has restated the Commission's readiness for the general elections and insisted March 28th is sacrosanct. The All Progressives Congress presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari assured women of more participation if voted in. And finally, Nigeria's First Lady Patience Jonathan took husband's re-election bid to Lagos. And it's a wrap for tonight. On behalf of the entire news crew, I am Ebulomo Adekunle wishing you a pleasant night rest.